We've all seen them on the playground, at the store, walking on the streets. They creep us out and make us feel sick to our stomachs. I'm talking, of course, about ginger kids.
Play to the Raptor!
I was contemplating writing a huge and wholesome paragraph about what Star Wars means to me, how it was an impactful part of my childhood, and that especially Star Wars games and their expansive narratives and mechanics turned it into a franchise I cherish and feel a big deal of love towards. A love that has recently, for unimportant reasons, experienced a certain dip. But ain't nobody got time for that. We're here for Fallen Order. So to bring you up to speed, I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars games. Not you. I don't think that Disney or anyone else has done a great job in capitalizing on this franchise's potential in either movie, TV, or gaming. And now I played Jedi Fallen Order. Let's go. For starters, this was one of the few occasions where I was really kinda happy to not have gone into this game blindly. I knew that some of its components were a janky mess, that it was inexplicably trying to pull off Souls-like gameplay, and that all you got from exploring was more ugly ponchos. Basically, we were playing a
Little Mexican Jedi.
How precious, by the way, that in today's time where the subject of representation stands more and more at the forefront, some IPs don't forget to give some love to the highly marginalized redhead community. Well, they don't have it easy. You know, Tatooine has 2 sons, right? So, as I was aware of these tiny issues, I simply decided not to focus on any exploring and side content and bulldoze through Fallen Order's main story. And I have to say, doing that, Fallen Order has granted me something that I've been craving for a long time. An atmospheric, well-rounded Star Wars experience. Actually, from its example, gamers and creators alike can learn how a franchise game can succeed. You see, a Star Wars game plays on an entirely different kind of playing field. The world, we know it. The enemy, we know it. Our powers, well, it's the Force. We got pretty much the gist of it by now. So the great thing is that there is no need for explanation. We can really focus on the game, the gameplay, and the story. But what do they have to deliver to make this a truly great Star Wars game? Well, that's easy. Give me as many lightsabers as humanly possible. People, when will we learn that the one thing that makes Star Wars, its DNA at its purest, is the concept of the Jedi Knight? We had the Care Bears before the Ewoks, the Muppets before Yoda, and we had 2001: A Space Odyssey before there was Ambien. It is a very slow movie. But the concept of the magical monk samurai with mystical mind powers and a kick-ass cloak, that is something that is entirely unique to Star Wars and Star Wars alone.
It's me.
Well, mostly. And here is where Fallen Order shines. Cal Kestis, who is not Kyle Katarn and never will be, does a fine job as a protagonist. Just enough personality to tell a simple but somewhat wholesome and complete story of the cast-out Jedi Padawan who comes into his own. And I have to say, Respawn Entertainment really put in a lot of effort to paint the full picture of Cal's past and his struggles. They really seem to care how they tell a story, and I truly appreciate that. It also makes it somewhat forgivable that the iconic inner struggle against the dark side was outsourced to our supporting cast in the form of Saren, who, for my taste, has very spooky eyes. But talking about light and dark side, it is fascinating how Fallen Order struck a perfect balance between ingenious and kinda crappy game design. The graphics were partially gorgeous and sometimes just kinda bland and boring. The environments on the planets are somewhat, I'd say, desolate. The fight system is stylish and fluid, but up until the very end I did not have the feeling I was in proper control of my combos, getting locked in animations and not being able to properly dodge incoming attacks. And the boss battles contained one of the best and one of the most annoying ones I ever had to sit through. A little tip to any developers out there: if your only indicator for an enemy's unblockable attack is a red glow, maybe don't have an arena that almost exclusively uses red lighting. Thank you. In summation, the sum of Fallen Order's parts would make it a fine but still mediocre game. But what makes it pretty damn good, actually, if not exceptional at times, is how it sticks close to the aforementioned DNA of what a Star Wars game is supposed to deliver. Jedi, fancy force powers, charming robe romance, and a beautiful depiction of lightsaber combat. One thing that I loved and truly hope to see more in other games, even when attacks hit and do damage, the character animation will still show that they were blocked somehow, but in a messy way. It adds a lot to the realism of the game, since realistically, most direct hits by lasers and lightsabers would mean an immediate game over. I don't know, I like that kind of stuff. And if Respawn Entertainment sticks close to this DNA, I'm not worried about Jedi Survivor in the slightest. Everything's there, the groundwork has been established, and they have fertile ground to create something truly outstanding. It almost makes me sad that these games are taking place between episode 3 and 4. You don't really feel like the outcome of the story will make an impact. Well, maybe we should have Cal leave the galaxy for a couple of years. Yeah, and then when he comes back, we could introduce him into the main movies, and wait, I know, we could find out that he's actually related to Obi-Wan, and in the end of the movie he could tell us his name is Cal Skywalker. No, right. That would be fucking ridiculous.